Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you've been well. Here's the video I promised with the new Diamondback cover and the new front runner rack system. Now this is the same rack basically that I've been using for a long time that people have come to know and love. I was not the first one to kind of cannibalize a front runner rack system and put it on a Diamondback, though since I've done it, it's become a pretty popular request. So working with front runner and Diamondback, we've made a kit now. I had nothing to do with it really. I didn't, other than popularize it, but front runner made this kit. So this kit is now available to purchase as a full kit. So you don't have to cut things and hack things up and drill holes. This will come ready to go. I will link it down below. Always appreciate using my links. And this is the brand new smooth plate Diamondback cover. So Diamondback covers historically have been diamond plate. This is something I've been requesting actually for a long time, though again, I think they were planning to do it before my request, but this is basically the smooth cover. This is actually obviously textured with like some, rhino line. I don't know exactly what they use, but super durable texture. People like when I slap things. Slap that cover. Makes a good slap. So this is the HD. I believe it's available in the SC and maybe some other options as well. I went for no cleats. So a very just smooth, no cleat, streamlined thing, though if you like the cleats, you can add them. I figured with the roof racks, I probably didn't need the cleats, but I may miss the cleats. You can add them after, but just to note, HD cover, no cleats. This video is basically just gonna be answering a bunch of questions I get and actually showing the whole install of this. So I'm gonna start with installing the cover, then install the racks, and it's not gonna be an install video. I'm not gonna show everything. I'm just gonna kind of give some tips as we go. So let me just talk about the system real quick. So the Diamondback, this was the first mod I made to the Tacoma, believe it or not, and still probably my favorite mod to date. I have not changed this, even though I've changed out all kinds of other stuff. I just love this so much. And the reason I love it partially is looks. I love the look of the mid-height bed rack with the tent on top, and also functionally, my dog sleeps in my tent, so I don't like putting my tent super high, so it keeps it functionally easier to get into the tent, more aerodynamic because the top of the tent, sorry I don't have the tent on here, I'll throw it on later, overlay some photos. The top of the tent is in line with the top of the roof, so it's more of kind of an SUV shape, better for wind noise and drag and fuel economy and everything. So I like functionally how it works, I like aesthetically how it looks. And then this whole system I really love. Ashley loves to hike, so a lot of times we'll go camp and we'll hike and we'll have all this gear. So I like putting the gear inside that's out of sight, locked up, and also out of the elements. So this thing has a whole gasket around the perimeter. Granted, that alone will not weatherproof you. You gotta do a lot of other stuff with your tailgate, with the front edge. But the Diamondback itself is very weatherproof, but the truck bed is a different story altogether. So to fully get your thing weatherproofed, where like you drive through a car wash and nothing gets in, is very difficult. Mine isn't even fully weatherproof, but for the most part, I'm driving through rain and snow and mud and stuff. Nothing really gets in here, so it's good enough for me. So you can throw everything in here. I'll throw drones and camera equipment and clothes and food and everything back in the back, and I don't have to worry about getting dusty and muddy and rained on or stolen. So the storage of the Diamondback is huge for me, and the secondary benefit is you can put a really robust rack system on top and then mount your tent. And that keeps everything really low profile, but really secure and really rugged. The other thing is I like this rack system here and the height that it offers you. And this is about 6.5 inches, just over 6.5 inches. So you can put, your cornhole, your chairs, a table, some of those thin Pelican cases or whatever you want under here. If instead of mounting the Max Tracks here, you'd like to put them here, you can. And I'll get into some of that stuff, all the mounting and everything, how I have this set up a little bit later as I get into the install of the video. So that means you have extra room here, but also really conveniently, you have a shelf here. So I will pop down the tailgate a lot. This is the mountain hatch tailgate cover thing and has cup holders, but it just makes a flat surface basically, so easier to prep food and put stuff without it spilling over. I really like that. And more often than not, I'll use my tailgate as kind of my primary table. So having another table that is like the full length, actually the full, I mean, it's a huge table if you really want to put stuff back here. And sometimes I will shove my jacket or stuff that I need access to, or just put my beer right here. It's very, very convenient and nice to have a whole nother table right above your primary table. It's just always there. So functionally, that's one of my main uses that I love. The Diamondback cover, when it's not in this rack setup with the max tracks and the rooftop tent on it, is very convenient because you have access to both the rear through that as well as the front. I have it set up to where when my max tracks or my tent is on, it doesn't actually open. So all of my access is through the back, which really isn't an issue. But when you don't have this stuff on it, or if you just have the racks on it and nothing else, then this side pops up and you can get access to the front of your bed, and this side pops up. These panels are removable, which you'll see in the install process in a second. And this is kind of the ultimate setup for me with the brand new Smooth. Another question I get asked, this is the HD. A lot of people say, can I get the SE and use it for this setup? The SE, technically from Diamondback, they'll tell you it's only rated for 400 pounds. So rooftop tent and some people up there, technically is over the limit, but I'm gonna tell you, and this will not hold up to any kind of insurance claims or anything like that, but I would feel completely confident in the SE. The SE is actually the first cover I got from Diamondback and used with a similar setup, and it was totally fine, seemed totally bomb-proof. So if you wanna, the SE is a little bit lighter and a little bit cheaper, so if you wanted to go to the SE, Diamondback, you know, for legal claims and stuff and load ratings, would probably recommend you the HD, which is great. It's what I use. But the SE, in my opinion, for the setup that I use, would be totally sufficient. I think we'll get into kind of some installation and I'll show you how this whole thing comes together. Once you have the cover pretty much lined up and then you open the rest of the kit, you'll have these things here. These 4 brackets are what attach the centerpiece to your bed. So those will clamp on. Next, on a Tacoma, you will install these guys like this up in here. So they go on the channel, bolt in there, and then that is the ramp that these will actually latch into. I'll show you now. Up in here is maybe the trickiest part, though it's pretty straightforward. This is the mechanism that will close and lock the Diamondback cover. So you use the little provided Allen key here to loosen this up, and that will allow you to slide this in or out as well as rotate it. You do want it in this orientation here so that this high part gives you the maximum bed clearance. You can see basically flushes it up with the top of the bed. I've seen some people install this with it down. Don't do that. Install it with it up if you want to use your maximum amount of bed space anyway. And then you want to slide it in. You can see the tip is kind of this rubber coated thing. You want to slide it in until it goes in all the way. When you attach these guys up here, tighten them. I like to put something kind of heavy on the top. I'm just using a box of snow chains. These are made in Colorado, actually, if you're looking for some snow chains. And then you want to push this thing up as you're tightening those nuts and bolts. You can adjust this later at any time, so if you don't get it perfect the first time, no big issue. But this is basically compressing your weather guard around so that way it forms a nice tight seal. And you want to make it nice and tight, but not so tight that you can't close your tailgate. So like that. I haven't done this side yet. So you can see how this isn't as compressed over here, and this is nice and compressed. This is really what we're going for. Once you have those in there, tucked up nice and tight, then we'll put some weights on the front edge and continue on with those, and those will just go into the channels basically in the front there. Sorry, not focusing very well. But that should be pretty straightforward. And then, yeah, once you get those in, you'll be pretty much done. Then you will pop your pistons on, or gas struts here, and that is what basically allows your cover to raise and lower. This is a little like safety latch that you could remove if you want, but it's not recommended. And that basically just, if your cover for some reason you forgot to close it all the way or didn't latch it and you're driving down the freeway and it decides to pop up, it'll only pop up that far with the safety latch in place. It's kind of hard to do one-handed, but you basically lift the safety latch up and then it'll allow it to go to the full height. So then you are officially done with the install. So then moving on to the front runner kit, this is basically what you're gonna get, and I'll kind of talk through what these pieces are and we'll install them as well. So these are your slats or your crossbars. This is what is essentially, you know, the roof rack portion that's gonna hold the load. These, you'll get 4 of these plus 2 little guys. The 2 little guys are for if you want to put one in the centerpiece of the Diamondback, and then the 4 bigger guys are obviously for the top of the Diamondback. So you could have a long, not quite contiguous piece of rail. So they're basically 3 little pieces, but it's nice that the kit comes with this cut. Previously, when I just did the thing myself, came with one long one that I had to cut and then spray paint the ends and stuff. So this will come pre-cut, pre-drilled for the holes, which is actually really nice. And then these holes are spread out. And actually, what's nice is that it comes with bigger hardware with this kit than with the kind of hobbled together kit that I was using. So that's pretty nice. Sorry, I can't tell the focus. I'm using a different camera. I'm using my photo camera to film to see how it goes. These are like just the end caps. These are the legs, basically, that will go in here, and then the slats or the crossbars will go on top. So this is the high kit. So it kind of gets it up to a mid-height bed rack height. So on the Diamondback, you could store something thin like a Pelican case or something in here. And then all of the hardware to attach this to this. So the main thing to note when deciding to attach this, the kit will also come with a little rubber gasket that goes underneath. I have like a pre-production unit that they sent me like months ago for testing that I just haven't tested because Corona and whatnot, and I didn't have the new Diamondback cover yet. So the real kit will come with a rubber gasket underneath, which I'm gonna have them send out to me probably, but I don't have it. So the install I'm gonna show you without it. But anyways, what you want to figure out here is where you set it. It looks like there's 2 holes on the end here, so maybe to work with the HD and the SE cover or for the different lengths of bed racks. But we have these basically structural support rails under here, and we just want to make sure that we're not drilling holes into them. We could, you know, they'll be fine, but the bolts aren't going to be long enough to reach all the way through there. So basically we just need to line it up to where we're not hitting any of those. And then as far as how in or out you want to go, that's kind of up to you. My thing, I'll just, you know, probably stay an inch. I'll take some measurement off the edge of the Diamondback cover here and just run that along the whole length. So that's what I'm gonna do. So on the Tacoma, it looks like the structural rails are about here and about here, so that does line up to where this hole, and I'll probably just go with the front hole here. We'll clear all of that. So I'll go ahead and measure this and set it out, and then drill the holes, mark the holes into the cover, and drill through. This is the most nerve-wracking part for a lot of people, but I don't have any plans to take this rack system off. The thing is, if you wanted to take the slats off, you can remove those pretty easily, and then you can just leave these on for whatever. If for some reason you needed to take the rack system off. So a few holes, a few screws later, and you have the rack system. So this is it. I'll kind of show you some of the stuff going on. I didn't put this foot on so that I can kind of show you the mechanism and how it works. And I also went ahead and mounted my MaxTrax mount on here, which I'll show you as well. One thing to note when drilling the holes, I said earlier, careful of these bars, but you also got to be careful of these as well. So basically you don't want to drill into there probably, though if you drilled perfectly into there, you'd be all right. This little bracket is on the front and back, so be careful there. For me on the Tacoma, roughly 1.5 inches to the edge of this from the edge here did the trick for me, but definitely that's something you'll want to measure yourself. Also front to back on the short bed Tacoma, you do want to definitely center this because you don't have a whole lot of room for error if you want to use these little end caps anyway. So here's the mechanism here. Let me take this off real quick. So this piece here goes into this piece that attaches to this piece, right? So this bracket will screw into here. This is something that may change with the kit. I'm using this old part because they actually, since I had this prototype kit and I didn't look at it until right now, they didn't send me a couple of the components they were working on that I was supposed to follow up on and forgot to. So I'm actually mounting my the old style. So this may have changed a little bit, and some of these things may be slightly different, but the general concept is you'll have a piece that slides into here, and this is how you can adjust where this bar sits on the track. I'll get into my bar spacing as it pertains to the MaxTrax in a second, but basically those two things will slide into here, and then this bolt will drop through that into that. Once that is where you want it, then you'll line this up with those two holes, and this little bolt will go through. Sorry, see if I can do this one-handed. Two of those will go through here, and then this is your other piece. So those two bolts go into this, and your final product is this right here. So you can't easily and quickly slide this around. I wish there was kind of a quicker way to do it, but you can adjust this to wherever you want. So depending on how you want your bar spacing, or if you want to add a third bar or a fourth bar, you can do that and put them where you need to. So when deciding on my bar spacing, I very specifically spaced them to the size to mount MaxTrax, and then I mounted them equal distance from the front and the back. So these two bars are basically centered over my Diamondback cover. And the reason I space them for the MaxTrax is that I mount MaxTrax here. I just have one, so it's easier to kind of take off and on and show you. But these are MaxTrax mounting pins. MaxTrax makes these. They secure the MaxTrax, and how many times can I say MaxTrax? They secure the MaxTrax and allow you to lock them, because these things aren't cheap. So I have them mounted pretty low, just above where it would be scraping the side of my truck, and then angled in a way that matches the body line of the truck for the most part. And also this slat is in here as much. Sorry, I'm again using a different camera today, so I don't know how the focus is. I got to learn how to set it up. Hopefully it's all right. So this is how that's going. And let me jump up here and show you the brackets real quick. The brackets are super simple. I made them myself, but all they are really, let me adjust the, all the brackets are is this steel right angle. I tried this in the past with a much thinner gauge one, and it actually broke when I was using 4 max tracks. So this one I went with now is actually about twice as thick as the other one. I kind of just did it as proof of concept originally, and it worked out really well. So then I just decided to use a bigger one and put that in there. You may want to check this for stress fractures here and there. I think something of thicker gauge will be totally fine for 2 max tracks, and I've been using it with 4 max tracks often just fine as well. But just to note, this isn't the absolute most bomb-proof setup in the world, but basically you'll put 2 bolts and nuts through here. I just put 1 through here and then bent it to the angle that I needed it, and then mounted the pin through the hole. So that is pretty simple and straightforward. The reason I like to put the max tracks on the side here are just they're easy to get to. If I can get out of the vehicle on this side, I like to put it on this side so I know I can access it. And I'd rather have them easy access because, and typically when you need something like this is actually just a brand new one I haven't used. Don't call me too much of a poser, but this was just sent out as a replacement. So this is used to stick under your tires to give you traction when your wheels are slipping in the snow or the mud. I use them a lot in the snow, and a lot of times when other people are stuck, rather than hooking up or winching or getting a tow strap and getting position, I'll just pull these off my truck and go get another person unstuck. So come in handy all the time. And then this distance here, I don't know if that's focusing, you can see is about just over 6.5 inches high. So you can put tables, chairs, some Pelican cases, the thinner ones will fit here, cornhole set. A lot of stuff can fit under here. And the reason I like that is because your tent goes on top here, or whatever you want to put on top. You can put more stuff here, and then you can put more stuff that you don't want exposed to the elements underneath the Diamondback. And it's just the sickest setup that I've ever used. And the other thing I use a lot is this as a shelf when I'm out camping. So I cook a lot and stuff on this. This is the Mountain Hatch tailgate cover thing with some like cup holders and stuff. Anyways, it just makes it a nicer area to cook and prep food and whatnot. So this I use as a table, my tailgate, what most people with trucks use. And this I use as a little shelf. So I'll put other ingredients here, or I'll put a pan here, or cups or drinks or beers or whatever. And so that way I have a table and then like a little bit of a higher table right here. And that is the setup I just love. Cool, so that was it for this quick video. Sorry, I'm kind of doing it rushed because this thing is launching today again, if I did this on time. So I just wanted to make the video with the launch, and then it started raining on me, and I kind of spread it out over a couple days because I had other things going on. So I'm sorry if I repeated myself or whatnot. It is what it is. But that's the video. I'll probably do some follow-up videos on like the full setup with the tent and everything on it later. But if you have any questions, ask them down below. Hope this video was helpful. And yeah, again, links in the video description below. Some of those are affiliate links. So that's kind of how I manage to run things for free on the channel here. So I always appreciate you using them. And yeah, Diamondback, as always, great company, made in the USA, awesome customer support. So check them out. Front Runner, also, we just talked about the Front Runner rack, but great company as well. So yeah, I don't know. I think that's it. Until next time, guys, take care.